Good morning, church, or good afternoon, church. My testimonies are much, but I want to say I thank God for Pastor Jerry's life. God bless you, sir. 2022, I work with the UK government. I run rehabilitation for young people who have challenging behaviors and things like that. So in 2022, the UK government contacted me to expand, and I needed workers for that. Work stability was a problem. Worker stability was a problem. So we applied for the sponsorship license, and we got it, and we started, the expansion came, things were good, and, I thought God had blessed me before, but yeah, this was a different dimension. And the year before, Pastor Jerry had said that God is opening the doors of nations, to us, and this was happening before my eyes. However, in 2023, 10th of July, I was in a prayer seminar, private prayer vigil, when somebody called me to say, they're taking all the children from you. And I was like, what? It was a big blow. But something in my spirit just said, you're praying. So, this is a life from a pit of hell. I continued with my prayers, and when I finished, I went back home. And the local authorities did try to take the children, but, somehow we muddled through. In September that year, it was like the onslaught of attacks. In September of 2023, my accounts, my business and personal accounts got frozen. The Inland Revenue said they were investigating us for fraud and money laundering. It was a bit ridiculous because I've never done any business outside of anybody except the United Kingdom government. And that went on and on and on. And in January, the UK government suspended all the sponsorship. Now investigating the sponsors because they had bogus people that were doing sponsoring people. So it was like one problem after the other, and I was getting a bit confused. So, and the word of God was coming, so I decided to come to Nigeria to pray. I didn't plan to come to NSPPD all of my trip, but that Monday morning when I arrived at Abuja, my husband was bringing me from the airport, and I just realized that it was like 6:45, coming up to 6:45. So I said, let's go to NSPPD. Hey, do you know the place? He said, no. I said, okay, we'll Google. So we used Google Maps to come here that Monday morning. We were here live, and the word came. So I ended up all week. I was here with my folders, big folders with all the issues that were plaguing me and my business, and family issues as well. Anyway, there was a lady that gave a testimony about her school and all that. So I keyed into that testimony. On the Friday, I made sure that I went into this altar, this where we have the testimonies, the prayer requests. And I went to pray and just presented it to God. This was April. I returned back to the UK on the 1st of May. On the altar, Pastor Jerry said, you will receive an email before this prayer is over. And that thing that you're praying for, the answers. And I took it in, but I said, I'm not going to divert myself from the altar. When afterwards, I'll check my emails. So afterwards, I checked my emails. At 8:04 that morning, the message came from the HMRC to say that the court had ordered for the freezing of my accounts to be unfrozen with immediate effect. The next day, the 2nd, I received a letter in the post from the HMRC to say that they were very sorry for everything that they took me through the mail, that they were very sorry, and they offered me a compensation, monetary compensation. The money that was frozen was quite a lot, so 6 figures amount. So, anyway, God has been faithful, He's held us up. In January, we got the suspension, and that was like one of all the things I brought to the altar. When we started, after the fasting, when we started the prayer and the Lord said yes. On Monday, Pastor David was talking to me. On Tuesday, he was talking to me. And I'm saying to myself, I'm praying, this guy is talking to me, he's talking about me, what's happening? Anyway, on Wednesday, I had gone to do a meeting with my staff. I was coming back, and I saw a flash on my phone. On Wednesday, oh Lord, show me mercy. In fact, all my staff, everybody, my workforce, they are all NSPPDians. Because since this thing started, I was sharing with them, I said, we have to be mandatory, we have to be on the altar. And so everybody is moving with, Pastor Jerry, and, when the word comes, they're like, madam, God has talked about us today. Anyway, that Wednesday, after doing the meeting with the staff, I was about going to support somebody when I saw a flash on my phone, an email. And the email said, home office, visas, so I said, I'll read it when I get home. I don't want any bad news, And my spirit was saying, just, you prayed. All the words have come. Why are you afraid? So I opened the email and I was reading it. I was like, oh my God, this is my evidence here, my suspension and everything. And I was saying, oh my God. And that message came at 15:11. And it said that without exception, we had been reinstated. Mind you, the greatest part of this was that on the 11th of March, the Home Office changed the rules for sponsorship in the UK, where you can't bring your dependents anymore, and also that you must be CQC registered. CQC is the body that governs the care sector in the UK. We don't deal with CQC because we work with children, so we deal with Ofsted. And so we were not on that record, so we did not even qualify anymore. And they sent this, even in this letter of reinstatement, there's the list there of the CQC and all the bodies that would qualify, but they reinstated us without any condition. No condition at all. Pastor Jerry says, how will you shout? I was driving. I was busting out of myself. I had to look for somewhere to park my car. And I came out and I shouted. I was shouting and I was crying. What God cannot do does not exist. Sorry, you guys bear with me. My testimonies are much, as I said. So this was HMRC gone. Then this morning, I came to Nigeria because I said I will come. One of the vows I made there was I will come here to testify in person for the world to hear that there is God on this altar. Anyway, this morning I was feeling a bit tired. So I said I'll come for the later services. But I was like really on. So I put on I joined online at 7 o'clock. And one of my staff called me. Because of everything that's been happening, they've been waiting for visas for their families. And one of my staff called me this morning. In fact, I had this text coming in, 2, and I said, who is disturbing me like this now? So when I looked at it, it was one of my staff. She said, this morning, this Sunday, it's not a working day in the UK or anywhere in the world that I know of. They have granted her family visas, her husband and her children. What God cannot do. Finally, Pastor Jerry says, women in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, receive your husbands. I wasn't looking. But in under the space of 2 months, in fact, less than 2 months, I got proposed to. I wasn't in a relationship. I got married at 52 years old.